All right. Episode 44, guys. Special guest with me tonight. I want to introduce her in a funny way, but I'm not going to because I don't want to, like, freak her out. But we got my girl Lauren over here.
Hello.
Would you consider yourself... Are you my sister-in-law, bro? Do you consider yourself that?
I mean, technically, how long have you been in the family now?
A fucking long time, bro.
Something
Longer
like
than most
that.
people, dude. Don't let me tell you that. You know what I mean? Okay,
Yeah.
so when is it a point when it's like, hey, bro, you've been in the family for like too long now, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
I kind of think...
I guess you're the one that's stuck around the longest, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes for you to go on and get
kicked out, you know what I mean? It's like a club. No, for real though, but like...
Remember, you earned your keep now, so I don't know.
Well, I think I'm officially now because your mom like threw something for my birthday. Did she tell you about that?
Yeah, I wish I could have been there. That would have been really cool.
Well, she cooked hella fire food, by the way, so...
I know, I'm jealous. I wanted the cake. She told me about it.
Yeah, I could have saved you a piece of my little brother William wanted to eat all of it, by the way. So thank you, William. You know what I mean? But yeah.
I know I told my mom, I was like, I was going to be back in 2 days and you couldn't save me a piece. I was like, come on, man. Like,
Yeah, she's like, oh, don't worry, Andrew. I handmade all this. Like, yeah, like now I don't feel bad. No, I did feel bad, actually. That's the thing. Well, you hand make everything, bro.
Birthday dinner, bro. Birthday dinner. It's a special occasion every once in a while.
Well, now I feel like a part of the family because your mom, like, I don't think your mom's ever done that for somebody. Am I wrong? How she, like, besides you guys, obviously, but she hasn't, like...
Family. Family and friends. So, that would be, like, your family. Like, so you get birthday dinners and stuff like that. You get invited to... the
stuff like
things
that
we do, yeah.
Well, Emily was telling me, she's like, oh, my mom said that, like, she finally understands you or something like that, or like, oh, my mom.
Yeah, we don't understand the male species, so it just takes us a minute.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought it was. I used to like to troll you guys a lot.
Yeah, we're like, ew, a man? Gross.
Like, yeah, but
ew.
Well, okay, well, because we're gonna get into first impressions, and I want to talk about how me and you first met, but it kind of goes on what me and your mom went through. Your mom's very fucking intimidating, bro. Is she not?
Yeah, a lot of people say that about her.
Why do you think
even sometimes she can come off a bit intimidating to me. I've known her my whole life. I'm like, she's my mom. I'm like, I would never fist fight that woman in my life. Like, some people are like, oh yeah, I definitely slap my mom or fight. No,
that's me.
I would. I'm scared of that woman. She is tinier than me, and she could literally murder me probably.
I don't know what it is, but like, me and Justin used to work with her at State Farm when she was one of the managers there.
But it's like an intimidating way that also like people like respect and like her. It's not just like, oh, she's like a complete bitch that's like, oh, like let's just not like be around her, like she's scary, she's so intimidating, like. But no, I'm like, you've seen that at State Farm too, like what people obviously respected her on her team as well. Like, I don't know, I've never worked with my mom, so I can't say like.
No, so when I say like she's intimidating, I don't mean like she's rude yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
She's like a boss queen intimidating,
Girl boss.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to say it, bro.
Where's her Ray Dunn cup at?
Like, there's no bone on my body that wants to disrespect your mom, bro. Like, I won't do it, dude.
Yeah, I think that'd be a bad mistake on most people's parts. But yeah, that's just how, I feel about my mom.
If I
feel like most people, especially any sort of boyfriends or people that I've brought around, or even like my like other siblings, like partners and stuff, like they've all been like, yeah, your mom's like intimidating. And even if they haven't said it, like I can sense it in like my partners as well, where I'm like, they are obviously intimidated by how like forward and how like, I don't know, I'm like, maybe it's my mom knows who she is, so I'm like, that's intimidating to some people. I'm like,
I can't even describe to you, to be honest with you, Lauren, I can't even describe. I almost said Bloren. I don't know.
Bloren.
Been drinking a little bit, but I can't give you like an honest why your mom intimidates me. She just does. So like I pay attention when she talks. When she's talking, I don't really try to like interrupt her. Like I'm not trying to be rude during, like, you know what I mean? Like I kind of like
You said she can just like, how would you like say, what did you say one time? Like make like a whole room kind of like focus on her. Yeah, somehow. Like she somehow can like make a whole room just like do that. And
without even trying.
Yeah, not even like she can just like start telling a story and it's not even like everyone wasn't paying attention. All of a sudden they're like, oh, what's Shannon talking about?
Yeah, like
I'm like, oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, one time me and Emily did like a buttload of shrooms and I had like this revelation where like your mom's kind of like a real life actress. You know, like they're performing on stage and everybody's like watching the performance like this, like, wow.
So when I was probably about 4 years old, 4 to 5 years old, you know, you're a kid and you don't really know what your mom or dad does as like a job or anything like that. And I must have been like dreaming, you know.
We really didn't know mom.
Yeah, so, you know, and you just kind of make up things in your head and stuff. And so like for some reason in my head, I always thought my mom, because she'd always be like singing in the car and stuff. I was like, oh, my mom has a really good voice. I thought that she was like one of those like cabaret, like her night, she'd have like a night job where she like, there's like a red curtain and she comes out from the red curtain, she like sings in like a black dress and like an opera dress, and I'm like, what? Like thinking about this, I'm like, kids are so dumb. They
like
think
Betty
of, like,
Boop.
Yeah, or like, you know, that yeah, pretty much
like Jessica
kinda,
Rabbit, basically.
Kind of, but not as like sexy, because I was like 4, so I'm like, I probably didn't think of it as like, oh, look at me, Jessica Rabbit. But yeah,
That's
like
what my mom was doing for real though. So.
Probably.
No, my mom was a stripper,
but yeah, so I don't know. It was like, that's like, I just thought that like she was like this like opera singer, like lady, like you said, like pretty much like an entertainer, someone that like performed for people, you know. Yeah. And I was like, even as like a 5-year-old, I think it's just something where, like I said, I'm like, she just like can control a room without even really like having to do much.
Well, maybe the intimidating factor is too, like your mom doesn't really look her age. You know what I mean? Like when she told me how old she was the other day, like I'm like, you don't even look that age.
She's Benjamin Buttoning us right now. I'm like, how are you like getting younger as you're getting older, woman? Yeah. What is this?
I know Emily's like, oh, drink water. Like I know that your mom's not just drinking water, you know? And yeah, like sunscreen. But yeah, we're gonna get into first impressions. So I believe, if I'm not wrong, and you can correct me on this, me and you first met at your mom's wedding.
Yeah, that would have been what,
like 5 years ago.
Yeah, like 2016, right?
Yeah. Was it? Yeah, I think so.
It would have been like 2016 because it would have been like right before I had moved up here.
I was completely like, I already have anxiety problems. Mm-hmm. So on that same day, I had to meet you, Sebastian, and your dad at the same time.
Yeah.
So that was like already fucking intimidating. I have to meet 3 of your family members, Emily, at the same time. That was not, I mean, come on, bro. No one, like, she makes fun of me to this day because I almost ran away. I don't know if she told you that. Did she ever tell you that?
You almost ran away.
At the wedding, like, I almost ran away. Like, I like literally walked down the street and I was like, hey, I'm just going to take the bus. I can't do this. Because, like, I was, like, hella scared to meet you guys. And
it's okay. I got really drunk later on that night and Emily was supposed to be watching me. And I guess, like, she went upstairs to go look for Ezra. And I took off down the street by myself. So I was like, so someone did run away, but it wasn't you. It wasn't you. I guess it was me.
Yeah, I know. And, like, that was... Talk about intimidating. Meeting all you guys at the same time was pretty goddamn intimidating.
You seemed pretty shy. You were like, hey,
like,
guys.
Oh, hey guys.
I'm Andrew.
There was do you remember at the wedding how like Nighthawk was like jumping off the roof and everybody had to like stop and stare at him like during like the speeches and like that? I thought that stuff was funny.
Maybe Nighthawk's the one that controlled the room actually.
And not everybody else.
Yeah.
Well, my first impression of you was like, I don't really know. I was just hella intimidated by you guys.
It's just funny because I don't feel like I'm very intimidating. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, maybe my mom, but I feel like I just kind of am very quiet at first. So I don't know.
Well, looks wise, I didn't like picture you guys looking that way. You and like Sebastian don't really look like Emily, in my opinion.
She's never shown you pictures of us or anything?
I don't remember seeing a picture of you guys before I saw you. Maybe she did.
How long have you guys been dating before that? She's like, I don't have a family. They're dead. And I'm like,
I don't know. It had to have been, I want to say like 5 or 6 months, 7 months maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong on that actually, but maybe it might have been longer. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, Hawk had gotten sick before that, remember? So I don't know how long had you guys, and then you guys met at Walmart, and then you guys...
Which I hate when people, and not just because you said it, but that's kind of why I want to leave Walmart, because I hate when my little brothers and sisters do that. Like, oh, don't you work at Walmart? I don't want to be known for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah. We did meet there, though. No, we did meet there, but, like, that's kind of like...
Yeah, because wasn't she temporarily working there first, and then she came back on?
Yeah, which is funny, because the first time I ever heard about her, which I don't know if I ever told you the story, was I had a manager at the time. Nicole, she was, like, the manager of Garden. Mm-hmm. And she was like, oh, yeah, there was this new girl at the morning meeting this morning, and she was just fucking staring at me and your brother the whole time. And I was like, what? Like, what do you mean? And Nicole was like, oh, yeah. I don't even know if she wants me to say her name, but I don't. Mm-hmm. I actually unfollowed her today because I found out she wasn't following me, and I'm like, nah, I'm not about to sit there and give you a follow.
Yeah, bye, Nicole.
Yeah, bye, Nicole. You know what I mean? And you have hell, and I'll get into that later. But so she's like, oh yeah, this new girl was like really emo and like staring at me and your brother the whole morning meeting. I'm like, what do you mean? And she's like, oh, she was like just staring at Justin like hella intensely. And I was like, oh, okay, like that's weird. And like, and then when I finally saw who that was, I was like, damn, Dustin, she's kind of fine, bro. Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, damn. Like, and then like, I was like, that's the girl that was staring at you? And they were like, oh yeah, that's what she looks like. And I remember like, I had just got out of a really bad relationship, by the way. Right. So like, I was still in like this weird, like,
you're like, who is this big tittied goth girl? Wow.
I mean, her titties weren't big back then, but still, you know what I mean? But pause. But I remember when I finally, me and her talked and we'd have actually hung out. I asked her about that. I said, hey, like my manager said that like you were like staring her and my brother down at this morning meeting, whatever. I was like, did you happen to like my brother before me, whatever? She's like, oh no, I didn't know that was your brother. I was sending him pictures to my gay friend.
Oh yeah, I remember she was telling me that.
She was like pimping my brother off to her gay friend, basically.
She's already like, without even knowing him. She's like, yeah, I know this dude over here.
She said, oh, the first time I went to your house and you took me through the front door and your brother was there with like his whole ass kid and his girlfriend. I messaged my friend Adrian and I was like, oh, hey, the guy I thought, yeah, never mind. I guess he's not gay.
Mission aborted, bro.
I'm like, oh, so you can't fucking dress nice and eat healthy food without being fucking called gay. I said, you know what I mean? But that's, yeah. So then leading into that.
It's metrosexual. No, I'm like this.
Basically, you can't be dressing nice, bro. Apparently you're fucking gay, dude. So there's that one. But yeah, I didn't have a bad first impression of you, by the way. I never actually have.
No, the only time that we ever actually got into like a bickering match was that one time when
and
we were about
to
like fight each other. I was like, bro, I was about to square up.
And we could talk if you want. Like, I want to hear what your opinion of that night is. So we're actually, guys, if you're listening, I know you are. We're about to talk about this night. I think it was at O'Malley's, right?
Yeah, we went to O'Malley's.
Okay, and it's an Irish pub in Tacoma, right?
Yeah,
on 6th Avenue.
It's on 6th Ave. It's like a local like Irish pub that people go to, and we all went there and we all decided that we're gonna like take shots and stuff, and then I
thought we had a good time too. No,
we were having like a fine time, and then we were going to leave to go down to like I think
the office
or the Forum or something like that. And on the way out, some drunk guy approached me and my sister and was like talking to us when I was drunk, and we were like talking about like earplugs and just being stupid. And this fool over here got a few drinks in him, some liquid courage apparently, and was like, what? Why does that guy want to talk to you? I don't understand why he's talking to you guys, this, and this. Yeah, and so he wants to act like a hard ass. And so we're walking out, and he's over here basically trying to like intimidate me and my sister. And I was like, no, that ain't going to happen. And so he's like, kicking a trash can thinking he's looking cool, and I'm just like, dude, like you're annoying. Like I was like, I even like tried like pushing his like big O ass. I honestly wouldn't like.
No, you did. You pushed me you pushed me pretty good, dude.
I didn't think like honestly I did anything. Like I was like, I felt like I didn't move you at all. I was like, oh, what are you gonna do? I was like pushing you and being stupid. I was like, I don't know what like weird like trigger in my head like snapped that night, but I was like, oh hell no. I was like, he is not gonna act like this.
You got me pretty good, dude. What you call? Well,
no fist like we're flying, but I was like, but that was the only time that we did have a. And then like your poor cousin in the back, he's just like smoking a cigarette next to me. He's like, yeah, this is just, a typical Friday night for me. He's like, dealing with my drunk cousin. He's like,
I mean, the guy that she's talking about, when I went to go pay, I felt like he was like staring me and Josh down like hella hard.
I hadn't seen him like all night, so
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that's what.
And I know I didn't
had
tell
no
you and Emily
idea.
that.
Yeah, because he's like, who is this dude talking to you guys? I was like, why you want to act all dumb about some random drunk fool? Like,
So
that's what made me
when
mad.
I was outside with Josh smoking, I look in the window and he's sitting there talking to you and Emily, and I got hella mad. I was like, nah, bro, you're not about to talk to Lauren and Emily after you just stared me down and like try to act hard with me.
Yeah, I think honestly he was just really, really drunk though, so I don't know. And I think you were on your way there too, so you know.
Well, that night really didn't end good, by the way. So that was fun.
But that's fine. I was like, now we're here, so it's
And
all
now
good.
now we're here. Damn, there's so much goddamn stuff I want to get into, and there's not an easy way to get into. So we already went through the first impressions. What is your before we get off this topic? What is your first impressions of my family? Because I kind of told you about my family, your family, but like, what are your first impressions of my family?
Well, this one right here, he's pretty quiet. I still don't know much about him, but you know, the babies are pretty cute.
He likes to keep it that way, by the way. So.
You got a lot of siblings. I'm not used to that. I'm like, you know, I only got the 2, so I'm like, wow, there's a lot of kids. So when you guys all get together, I'm just like,
it's like a whole goddamn party.
Yeah, like I'm not used to that, so it's a lot. But I'm like, you know, like I like that you still try to like be very family oriented, even though like sometimes like things don't necessarily work out all the time. But I think it's good that you still try to be like close with everyone.
Yeah, your mom said the same thing to me.
Your mom is your mom. I was like, she's Raina. She's a.
That's just like it's kind of like ironic that she named herself that, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, what's her real name?
It's Kristen.
Kristen?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like I kind of like Raina more, but it's just like you act like a queen, you know what I mean? If you're gonna name yourself queen, I get
queen energy.
Sorry, mom,
off,
I just gotta act like it. But well, yeah, what I want to do is I can't wait till all the kids get older, and then when we all get together.
Yeah, that'd
like
be really nice.
And the drinking age.
Vegas.
I hope not all. I don't hope all of them like become drinkers and stuff. That'd be cool to like. Yeah, you're right. Like me, Justin, and all the kids when they turn 21, we go to Vegas together.
I mean, take like William when he's like,
yeah, bro, Justin, that'd be fire. Like if we all went to Vegas, bro. Yeah, or girls' night,
guns, cars, boobs.
I don't know if you remember this, but the last night you were here, did Emily tell you we got a noise complaint from that night?
Where from downstairs or? What?
I don't know. The apartment people wouldn't tell me, but I guess we got a noise complaint. You remember that night though, right?
Yeah, but I'm like, there was like kids here, weren't there?
I guess I talked to the apartment people and we're cool now, but one of the cool things about that night was my little sister Zoe was sitting there like watching you and Emily talk, and you can tell she was like hella interested in like being a part of like the girls, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that was cool. I was like, oh,
she
hey.
She doesn't really have any like older sisters. So
yeah, I mean, she has
the oldest sister.
Yeah, so she kind of looked at you and Emily as like the older sisters and was like trying to like, when you and Emily were like talking about like stuff that goes on with like your personal lives, you could tell my sister was like hella interested and like, oh, what did that girl say? And I was like, damn, Zoe, you're only 10, bro. You know?
It's from the very beginning, you know, we just love the drama.
And I kind of like, I want them to experience that, like not the drama, but like obviously like what like a society says girls are supposed to deal with, you know? But yeah, this next topic might, I don't think it'll be hard, but apparently like you and your mom had like a little recent, I don't want to call it an argument, but basically when the topic of death was brought up.
Yeah, it was like a bit of like a spat, I guess. I got into a spat about it.
And I kind of wanted to talk to you about it because I didn't get to talk to you about it personally, but your mom had ended up saying like, oh, Lauren doesn't like that topic and all that stuff. I don't either. I agree with you on that. I don't, but I still force myself to talk about it because I don't know, I'm weird. But then also you went through something recently that has to do with death.
Yeah.
And it's like someone like you who like your mom claims you don't like it. Like I wanted to get your thoughts on why you don't like it and just kind of like, I don't know.
It's not necessarily that I don't like to talk about death. It was the way that it came up in the conversation because my mom recently, I don't know if it's just because she's getting older, but she's come to this thing where she's like, she says a lot like, oh, well, like when I die, and I'm just like, you know, and it came to this point where one time she had said, and I like kind of turned to her and I was like, like, why do you just say it so nonchalantly like that? Like, because in a way I do think about death. I think that's why I don't like to talk about it, is because I do think about it in a way that, also being a mom, I'm like, I have these like irrational like thoughts where I'm like, he's like, like my son's gonna run with a pencil and he's gonna like impale himself and he's gonna die, or like he's gonna like burn himself and he's gonna die, like anything like he does like is gonna die, like, and I'm just like, like,
so basically what your mom thought about you probably as a kid.
Probably. And I just think that like so like going back to the conversation we had, like, like we got into that and I was like, like it just, I don't like that you say no so nonchalantly, because like you don't realize I do think about that. And she's like, well, I didn't realize that, like,
sorry, go
that
ahead.
That was very rude.
Yeah, whoever put that on the Bluetooth was rude, but yeah,
not the proper moment.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we just kind of got into it. I mean, we have like talked about it since then, but yeah, like it's something that I think about a lot. So when it does come up in a conversation so casually, and especially with my mom, I'm like, like my mom is going to die one day. And what am I going to do when that happens? Because that is probably going to be one of the most tragic and hardest things that I'm going to have to deal with in life. And the fact that she was to bring it up so nonchalantly did upset me. And thinking about the
do you think she understood you in like the argument? I don't want to call it an argument, but do you think she understood where you're coming from?
I think at the time, no. I think after we talked about it, yeah. But I think that like she's dealt with it a little bit more than I have. And even recently with like some like events that have happened, like even then I'm like, it wasn't someone, like it was someone kind of close, but it wasn't like a family member or like a parent or a sibling that has died. So I don't think that I have gone through something that tragic and that hard yet. So I think when it does happen, I think it's something that is going to be difficult for me to deal with. And I think that's why I don't like to like think about it. And especially, like I said, I'm like, when I think about like if that was to happen to my mom, I'm like, oh my God, what would I do? Like, I'm like
and not just because he's sitting here, but that's the same for me. Like I always think to myself like, damn bro, like what if Justin died?
Yeah, like
what the fuck would I even do? Like who would I even talk to? I wouldn't be interested in talking to anybody. I wouldn't want, like, I'd be like, yeah, you're damn right, Lauren. Like, I agree with you, but like, I force myself to talk about it because I'm like, yeah, there's not really
and I think
a comfortable way to
like,
deal with it.
Yeah, and like, there's a way where I'm like, like, I don't know what happens like after we die. Like, I can't say. Like, I know people grieve and cope in their own ways and want to use religion or want to use like different methods and like think different ways of like what happens when you die, but like I really can't say. And sometimes I guess that's the thing that scares me the most too, is that I think in a very morbid way, I think sometimes there's just nothing. I think sometimes there's just like nothing. You just die and there's nothing.
Would that be kind of nice, to be honest, too?
I mean,
you wouldn't know that there's nothing, though.
I mean, sometimes I'm like, sometimes maybe it'd just be nice to pass away in your sleep and just die. But yeah, sometimes in a morbid way, I think, there's just going to be nothing when you die and that's it. Like, I will die one day and my son won't have me, and he's going to die one day and he won't have anything, and so on and so forth. So yeah, like, if I get super stoned and think about that shit, I start getting upset. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, my baby's gonna die. I'm gonna die. My mom's gonna die. I'm like, Scout's gonna die.
Yeah, bro, that hit me so hard recently, dude. I got so fucking high off weed one time.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the bathroom just like hella scared. I'm like, Justin's gonna die one day.
Yeah,
I'm
like
gonna
you start
die, bro.
irrationally thinking about weird things. You're like, you gotta calm yourself down. You're like, I'm giving myself an anxiety attack. You're like, is this a heart attack or is this just anxiety? I'm not sure. Let me go to the emergency room to find out anyway.
But it's like, yeah, it's all the weed you've been smoking, sir. You're absolutely right. And I don't know, maybe weed doesn't help it. Like when you smoke weed and you start, there was this one morning, I swear to God, Lauren, I woke up and I saw Nighthawk acting like older.
Like an old man?
Yeah, and like he came up on the bed and I just
He is old. He's about 10 now.
Yeah, but I met him when he was 5. That's a 5-year window that I've known this cat, that I've loved him and like helped him and like fed him and all this stuff. And now I'm like, bro, how much longer do I have with you?
Yeah.
That's like, when you think of me and Emily, you think of me, Emily, Nighthawk, and Kobe, right? That's like the 4 things you think of when you think of me. Like when I think of Justin, I think of Avery and Noah. I think of Ezra. When I think of you, there's like things attached to you.
Yeah.
So like when Nighthawk and Kobe die, people are gonna like, they're not gonna. That's like a whole era of me and Emily's life that'll just be gone.
See, isn't that sad?
Yeah, that is. And so I don't like thinking about it either. So I kind of felt you on that when Emily brought that up. I was like, yeah, like I agree with Lauren, and maybe certain people just take it different. And maybe certain people just don't know how to handle it. And maybe certain people, I don't know if I'll ever be able to handle that kind of stuff. I've never had I had a cousin die when I was younger. Would I lie right now and say me and him were super close? No, but we were close enough to where like I hella loved him and like, you know, I looked at him as like a cousin. But I haven't had like a brother or a sister or somebody like super important die. So I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, even, you know, like saying something like that, like I guess one of the closest people, I guess I could say, that's passed away recently within the last like few years was my great grandma. But even then, like you said, like, yes, did I love my great grandma? Was I truly, like, I was sad when she died, but I can't say that I was upset as like my grandma would have been, or like some of my other cousins that were closer to her, because she also spoke Spanish. I didn't. So there was this thing where we just didn't like
Communicate
and
Yeah.
didn't click on that kind of level to where I'm like, yes, I was sad when she passed away, but I can't say that like it was something that was so devastating, you know.
And that's not wrong to say. I don't think that's wrong to say. At least you're being honest.
Like that's what I was like, yeah, like R.I.P. grandma, like, you know, hope you're doing good wherever you at, homie.
That's the thing that makes me mad. Like,
pour
bro,
one out for great grandma.
like, poor shit. Says some racist, bro. I'd be mad if, like, bro, I'd be so mad if I couldn't see Justin again or like troll him. Just imagine like all the stuff you do now.
Like he's like,
You couldn't
damn.
bring that with you to the next life. Nah, bro. When I go to the next life, bro,
But you're like, I'm
I
bringing
have
all
to
the
be able
memes
to-
and trolls.
yeah, I have to be able to troll Justin and Josh. Or like, what the fuck was the point of all this, dude? You know, that'd be so garbage, bro. But yeah, we don't have to stick on that topic for too long. I know me and you are super into like YouTube drama. That's something that like me and you are super into.
The YouTube drama.
And by YouTube drama, there's like a specific group of people that are always in like the YouTube drama news.
Well,
you know?
especially right now,
Yeah. And like
about.
it was so. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of what's happening right now, I was inspired by Frenemies, because I thought it was like Trisha and Ethan had like a really cool thing going. They did.
I think they did too. I think they worked kind of well on a level, and I was like you said, I was upset when they
Split up.
Yeah, I was like, no, I was
Because it was entertaining. If you guys don't know, by the way, there's some people who don't. I'm talking about the channel H3H3, which is Ethan Klein and his wife Hila. Is it Hila or Hila? I always mess that up.
I think it's pronounced Ela.
Yeah. Well, they have a YouTube channel, and they talk about like pop culture stuff, YouTube drama, just stuff that's like trending, which is a very popular show on YouTube. And then Trisha is also a very popular personality on YouTube.
Been around on YouTube for quite some time now. In the entertainment business for quite some time.
Would you personally say that she's not really liked? If you look at a lot of her videos, she gets a lot of dislikes and like shit comments.
Yeah, I think that she knows that she is disliked, and I think that she kind of like runs with that, you know. I think that she understands that like it's that thing of, even if you're getting bad attention, it's still attention. You know?
Yeah, she's like the queen of that now, dude.
Yeah, because I'm like, how many times has she been in a scandal or done something that is relevant to what is happening in that year, or what's happening at that time? Like, you know, she's always like, she knows what she's doing. Like, that's the thing, is that people like, I remember she was the girl that was like, do dogs have like brains and stuff? Like, she's not that stupid, but she is very manipulative, and she knows what she's doing.
And it's got her to this point.
That's why I'm like, she's still around. People are still watching her, even if you say like people dislike her, you're going on her channel to go dislike her and even
And
give
shit
her
comment.
a view. Yeah, and give her a comment. So you're still giving her what she needs.
Which feeds the algorithm. Did you, one of the things I wanted to ask you was, did you believe her? I didn't, by the way, and I know that's gonna sound bad, but did you believe her when she said when she had those transgender claims? When she went, I remember, and like Ethan kind of like called her off of that and was like, "Oh, I don't really think you are." Or, I don't. Maybe that's not what he said, but like there was a lot of like she just says a bunch of random like.
I think that she used that as a way to like again get attention because I don't think that she is, or I guess they go by they them, so they use pronouns as they them. So I think that they might have not known exactly that they were non-binary as they put it, and maybe if that's, I don't know, I'm like, I'm not gonna sit there and speculate on someone feeling the way they do about their gender. So if they do want to identify as they them, like that's their business, or she he, or like, you know, like it doesn't matter to me. But I don't think that the trans thing was just like, I think they just spew out anything, like I said, just to get attention. Like even this recent like thing where they were having a mental breakdown online because of like the whole like teacher drama stuff
When she had all those crying videos on Twitter.
Yeah, and she's like, I can't breathe. I'm like, then put down the phone. Like, you don't have to be, you're literally being like, I can't breathe. Oh, post, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, if you, as someone that condones having like a mental illness and being out there about being like having such like behaviors and stuff, why are you sitting there and like making it seem like that's okay to be doing? Like, why are you doing that?
Like
you
freaking
know,
out?
but just like, it's like, why are you sitting there and being like, I can't, like, it's just like too much. Like, you know, it's like, we know what you're doing and it's for attention. And especially like with everything that's going on with like the whole like Ethan drama and Moses and like all
I thought
of
it was
that,
fake.
like,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was fake for the longest time until recently. I was like, damn, they're really like.
you didn't think they were together for a minute, or they were just for like
because I thought like
clicks?
okay, and it's not me saying names, okay, because I don't want to turn this into that, but like I kind of felt for the longest time that like that's what this family was. Like I was like the Ethan, Emily was like the Ela, your brother was Moses, and there was a bunch of other people involved, right? So I was like, so when I'm seeing them, right, and I'm like, oh, I think they personally faked a lot of that to get more views, and then they were gonna bring Frenemies back. But then when Frenemies didn't come back, and then you hear all the allegations against Moses online. I don't know if you've been seeing that.
Something about his ex-girlfriend like coming out about like him being like with her while she was
Underage or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
that too.
So there was all that stuff coming out when Ela was pregnant, and they like Ethan's mom was blaming Moses, like, oh, you know, this will be you and Trisha's fault if something bad happens. I was like, yeah, this isn't fake anymore.
Yeah, that's what it's like. I did like have a conversation with my mom because sometimes, like, you know, like I'll just be like talking to her about YouTube drama, and she's just like sitting there. She's like, "Wow, Lauren, that's amazing," you know. Like she's like, "I have no idea what you're talking about," but she's like, "Do you just think like?" She's like, "How do you know that like none of this is like fake, or none of this is like them doing this for views?" I'm like, honestly, like I kind of thought the same thing at some point, but like you said, I'm like, this has been continuously going on, and this is like. This would be like if, like you said, we were somehow like we got like out there and people knew about us and like we're kind of in our business, and all of a sudden like you're like having text messages leaked and all of this, and there's just all this family drama that's being leaked on the internet. Like how embarrassing is that? Like even as like someone like as Moses, though, I'm like, dude, like you can't do something, like you're just gonna sit there and like, I don't know. And I'm like, your sister's pregnant too, like you know that your sister's pregnant and you're just like, yeah, it's fine, like I'm gonna marry this girl still. I'm like, I don't know, like someone had said too, they're like, I was watching someone on YouTube, they're like, I think that like, I don't know if he's like under a spell or something. I don't know what's going on with Moses because there's some weird shit going on.
Maybe he just likes I'm not saying he likes Trisha for money, but maybe he just likes the money. Maybe he actually does like her.
Maybe he actually does like her.
But
Who knows?
that just seems
but I feel
like
like with all that going on too, like it's just like, again, why? Not that you can control what your partner does, but how, as like someone's partner, are you gonna allow someone to do that and kind of get in the middle? Like she's like literally getting into like the middle of his family and just like destroying it. Like she's like this little bomb that's just like imploded now,
I
and
agree
it's
with you on
just
that.
like, let me just fuck everything up now, because
She
I'm like,
probably
it's
doesn't
just,
see it as that though. She
yeah,
probably
because
doesn't
I'm
see
like,
that she's
you're not just like messing with Ethan and Ela, you're messing with Moses' parents, which are Ela's parents. You're messing with Ethan's parents. I'm like, which is like, they're like parent, like the parent-in-laws too, like, you know.
it's probably zero to impossible to keep their private life off the internet now.
Well, now, yeah, and especially
Well,
with
because
Trisha.
Moses dates a YouTube personality.
Well, I was like,
His
yeah,
sister is a
like,
YouTube personality. It's not.
I mean, especially like Elis always seems like she was someone that's pretty much kept to herself. You know, she's kind of out there, and she's always kind of just like let Ethan kind of be the one that's kind of started the drama and kind of been like, hey, dude, you need to like calm down sometimes. But Trisha's the one that I think is the one that will instigate and always be the issue. I think until like, that's why I'm like, I don't think she's like, this won't be the last time this will happen like with her. Like she's gonna continue to be on YouTube for a long time.
Well, she claims that. Well, they made a video recently where they said they're gonna stop talking about her,
Yeah.
but then they kind of did low key bring her up, and then they ended up privating an episode of Frenemies where she had mentioned a teacher that supposedly had, you know, she claims he did bad stuff to her.
Essayed her.
Yeah, and so
I know the YouTube terms. They essayed her.
yeah, and that's like TikTok terms too. Yeah,
The P word. Yeah.
yeah, and the R word and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Can't talk about it. You know, you got to
Yeah.
say the word.
well, she was like going overboard. Like, so you're gonna. I would never personally, in my opinion, Lauren, I would never like minimize like someone's like experience. So like, let's say you came forward and said, "Hey, I had an experience with this guy. This is what he did to me." I would believe you, right?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't minimize it. But like, if you said that on like a episode of a podcast we did, and then it ended up not being true, I kind of would have to do what Ethan did. I'd have to private the episode.
Yeah, I don't blame what he did at all.
But I
And
wouldn't say like, oh, Lauren's lying, and I don't think he said that either.
no, he didn't. He said in the post that he made that he is taking, or he privated the video, and that he's giving Trisha a chance to basically, I don't know, what would you say, like,
Not show receipts, but like,
just
because
kind
that's
of,
bad. It sounds bad when you say show receipts, but there's not a really good way to say that.
yeah, but basically, like, because what happened was Trisha had said that there was a police report, but there's supposedly no police report.
Or
so
arrest record, right?
Yeah, or something like that, because
And this
this
is
person had supposedly been looking at, I think, like,
she said CP.
yeah, CP at work at the school, but that would have been on record too as well if that's
And
what
they
this person.
they said it wasn't on record.
And
Yeah.
supposedly this person is dead as well, so this person cannot
Defend himself.
defend himself, and now the family has become aware of what has been said and now is very confused and upset. And why wouldn't they be? These allegations have came out years later, and that's not cool, especially if you don't know if that's like true or not.
Yeah, it's like basically shitting on a dead guy's name, basically.
So basically, yeah, like Ethan is giving Trisha a chance to basically say like, hey, is this true or not? Like, did you lie about this or not? And they want to freak out and say, oh no, like it's all of like the H3 subreddit coming after me and all of this. And it's like, you know what, like, I know that a lot of people had commented as well, like in some of like the stuff, and I've known people or said like on like TikTok and things, where they had said like they were fans of Trisha before the whole Frenemies thing, and now they're not fans of her anymore because of all this stuff that's happening. So it's not just all these H3 fans, it's Trisha fans too that are stopping, like not liking her or like unfollowing her or like not like believing what she says anymore.
Yeah, I kind of relate to Ethan in a way when it comes to like someone like Trisha. So I understand what I don't even know who I'm siding with, to be honest with you. I thought it was fake for like the longest time, but now that I don't think it's fake, I'm like, damn, bro, maybe you guys should really just like distance yourself from Moses and them. But maybe it's hard to say that because maybe Hila doesn't want to distance herself from her brother.
I know, and I had heard someone else. I like watch a bunch of different YouTube stuff, and like I heard someone say too. They're like, like this isn't just like little YouTube stuff. Like I said again, this is families. It's like, what if, let's say, Moses and Trisha do get married and they end up having a baby, and like Ethan and Hila have babies. Like, what if these, like, they're basically cousins? Like, what if they're not allowed to like be around each other and hang out and be cousins because of what is going on still, or because
And
like they would
that probably could happen.
like that could happen, which is potentially sad. Just a bunch of family drama that got somehow ingrained into YouTube.
Would you be mad if that happened to like let's say, for instance, me and you ended up getting out there? Would you be mad if like that ended up happening to us? Like a bunch of family drama was like went public?
I mean, I'm sure that there would be some family drama either way, from even like, that's why I'm like, your side, my side. Like I got drug addicts on my side of the family too. Hi, Grandma.
Yeah. She's like, how dare you say that? How dare you say hi, Grandma? Well, no, because these people, like, that's okay. So I
wouldn't think that. Like, I would think that, like, that's the only thing about like being out there is that like anything that you could have said, even as like some of the dumb shit I used to post on stupid Facebook, or some of the things I'm like, if I see that now, I'm like, delete. I'm like, I don't care, even if I'm never famous or not. Delete. That is so ugly. I'm like, I don't want anyone looking into it. Like, even then, I know that I haven't done anything crazy. I'm like, but please do not look at any of the dumb shit that I posted as a child. Yeah, I'm
getting canceled, bro. I mean, I can get canceled for the things I said last episode. So, yeah, I wanted to talk about this later on, but it's a perfect transition. Generational trauma. Because we had just mentioned how, if this got bigger to the point where like family drama got involved. And my problem with generational trauma is that the people who have hurt us, they don't take accountability for anything. And they get mad. Like, let's say my mom got mad if I brought up something that she's done to me on the podcast. And she gets mad about that. It's like, hey, you won't take accountability for the wrong you've done to me. You won't take accountability just for me in general. So when I bring it up in my way of coping, now you're mad? Like, where was all that energy when I was trying to mend this before I fucking brought it up?
Yeah. I mean, that is sad. Like, I don't know, like, with certain people like that, especially people who are drug addicts or people who are addicts in general, like, I think that most of the time, if they've been on doing something for so long, it's going to come to a point where it doesn't matter like what you try to do to help them. If they don't want help, like, they're not going to get help. And I think that talking about, like, even like you saying, like, bringing up that kind of stuff, like, they're not ever going to acknowledge the trauma and hurt that they have brought onto someone, because then they have to look inside themselves and see that they did bad things to people and that they're the ones that hurt people, because then you have to realize that you're the person that did all of that stuff,
and people don't want to do that,
and you have to, like, yeah, like, that's a lot of deep understanding that I don't think a lot of people get and can ever understand, and it is sad because a lot of people like you, or people that I know, even my son's father, it pretty much, his mom's a drug addict as well, and he's dealing with that kind of stuff where she will never acknowledge that she is on drugs. My mom's mom is a drug addict.
Like, do they get mad when you bring it up?
Yeah, they get mad all the time.
So like they can do all this fucked up shit.
My mom's mom has literally done drugs with my mom's other siblings who are older, of course, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And even if they weren't older, yeah, she's done drugs with them, and she will flat out be like, no, I didn't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know, and get mad about it and just be like,
Yeah,
why would you say that about me? Why would you say that about your mother? You don't care about me? Like, I'm...
You're triggering me
Yeah,
right now. You're
see,
hella
like,
triggering.
yeah, see, exactly. I know.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
and that's what it's like, I didn't even really grow up necessarily like that, but I've seen it, and I've seen it happen to a lot more people, like, in life, especially as I've gotten older. I'm like, this is just it's shitty to say, but it's a common thing that happens. Like, you're like another like stereotype, pretty much. Like, you know, like, you are a stereotype of a child from an addict, and you're not any different than a lot of other people. And that's what I'm like.
I bet my mom would probably say the same thing. Like, my mom. No, she does say the same thing.
Yeah, she's like, no one cares about me. My kids aren't going to care about me when I'm older. My kids aren't going to do anything for me. I help everyone, but no one helps me. Like,
bro,
yeah.
Is that not? Yeah, it's like you're literally saying textbook fucking shit.
Yeah, I know.
Textbook shit.
I've heard it. I've heard it all before. That's what I'm like. I've heard it, and it's not even to me. Like, that's what it's like. I've heard it from other people.
Well, I've seen Emily, like, she'll text her sometimes, like, when your grandma like hits Emily up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
like,
I don't even try to talk to that woman.
I wouldn't even. There's my mom's mom too. Like, and I don't give a fuck about her either, because we can get into that later. But I've seen messages between your grandma and Emily where, like, Emily will like mention one thing and she's like, "Oh, so you don't think I'm a good grandma?" Like, bro, when the fuck have you ever been a good grandma? And it's like very insulting. Here? Yeah, it's very insulting that you get to say that. Like, my mom's mom. My grandma, Sally, whatever, she's like literally the same way. Yeah. She's done so many fucked up things to my mom and her siblings that got passed down to their kids. And then anytime you try to bring it up to my grandma, Sally, she's the same way. She's like, oh, so you think I'm a bad mom? You think I'm a bad grandma? Yeah, like, you kind of fucking are a bad mom.
You're like, if your children are the way that they are, then yeah, I wouldn't want to raise my kids the way that you raised them.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking.
But the thing is that, like, with generational trauma, like, thinking about that, where you're like, well, my grandma did that to my mom, and now my mom is doing that to, like, us and the kids, is that you can only hope that if you have kids or that your siblings have kids, that they just break that cycle and that they don't do that to those kids. And
that's already happened a little bit.
And and like, that's when I'm like, that's all you can really hope for, is that cycle gets broken, because you guys have seen that happen and you guys know what comes out of those circumstances. So that's the only thing that you can try to do as a person, is just try to, like, and even then, if you have to get help, go to therapy, go talk to, even if you don't want to talk to someone, talk to family members, talk to someone, like, you know, like, you just have to, like, make sure that you, like I said, try to break that cycle if you can do that. Because there's ways where, like, even then, like, with me too in my family, so, you know, that we've had all these, like, teen moms, as, like, my grandma had my mom at 14, my mom had me probably at, like, I think, like, 17, and then I had my son in about, I had just turned 18 right before I think I found out I was pregnant. So I'm like, you know, we come from this line of, like, teen moms. But, like, the difference is that, like, you don't, like, I guess, like, even with, like, my sister, I'm like, you don't, like, my sister hasn't had any kids yet. Mm-hmm. My sister hasn't had any. I'm like, and the thing is, I'm like, even if you do have these kids as teens, the thing is that you can somewhat try to still break that cycle, even if you think that you have, like, been in that cycle. Yeah. Like, you know, like, I think that was like, oh, I'm a part of this cycle. I'm a part of, like, this teen mom cycle where I got pregnant straight out of high school, and I'm just, like, a stay-at-home mom, and I'm just not gonna do anything and just be one of those typical, like, you know, just lazy people that just, like, is, like, a stay-at-home mom or do something like that. And I'm like, I guess, not that I'm saying that I'm, like, I completely broke that yet, but, you know, I'm trying to. I'm like, I know that. I'm like,
well, you guys have done you're not doing a bad job at all, dude.
I was like, parenting is kind of hard sometimes. I was like, especially if like, I mean, my son's father and I just are like recently like talking as like friends again. So I'm like, he's coming back around more. So I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, so that'll help a little bit more. But being like a single mom, I'm like, that shit is like, that is some generational trauma shit where I'm like, I don't know how somehow I'm like, like when I'm younger, I'm like, I'm not going to get pregnant as a teen. And I'm like immediately 18. They're like, you dumbass. Like, I'm
hey, yo. I mean, I've come from a line of like
teen moms.
No, not teen moms, but I've come from a line of like my dad was super fucking abusive to my mom. Anger issues.
Yeah, that's
my grandpa has anger issues. My uncle has anger issues. Crime, drugs, abandoning their kids. Like, I don't really have a good male role model in my life. No matter how many fucking people in this family try to like pretend.
Yeah.
They'll hella pretend, bro. Like, oh, we're good dads. We're good this and that. Like, not really, bro. Like, none of you are really good dads like that.
Yeah, I think, like, like, my grandma kind of is, like, one of those moms where she's like, I was such a good mom. And I think, like, my mom helped kind of, like you said, like, kind of break that cycle in a way where she did teach us where we're like, okay, like, you don't have to, like, especially with my, like, sister, like I said, I'm like, she hasn't had any kids yet. I'm just, like, good for her. Like,
she might, but she could be the one that has them when they're older.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. I'm like, maybe that's just, like, like, because me personally, being, like I said, having a kid like kind of young, like I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you don't know what like you're doing in life. I was freshly out of high school. You think I knew what I was doing? Hell no.
I still don't know. I still don't know what I'm doing.
I still don't know what the hell I'm doing either. So that's why I'm like, yeah, having
to look a little kid in the face and be like, oh, like they look up to you, but then even you don't. That would fucking suck. Yeah, you're right, Lauren.
Yeah. So I'm like, being a teen mom and like living in a like 1-bedroom apartment and being like, hey baby, like sorry that you gotta not have a nursery, like that's cool. Like I see all these like pictures on like it's like 2013, everyone's like, look, we have nurseries for our babies and all this teen mom shit, and I'm like, wow, like I'm living in a ghetto ass apartment where it got shot up next to me the other night. I'm like
there actually is moments I remember as a kid where I was laying in my crib and my mom and dad's apartment got shot up. I remember that. So yeah, like it's not funny that you said that, but it kind of is because I literally remember that. So
the ghetto.
Has anything like I don't want to say like drugs, but like alcohol or drugs been passed down to you guys? Like I know like my mom and them will lie and be like, we don't drink, but like I like drinking, but I don't consider myself an alcoholic, and I've done recreational drugs. Like Molly, weed.
Yeah, I mean, I do smoke weed like pretty much daily, so I don't know. I'm like, I guess I got that addict in me somewhat, but I'm not over here like drinking every day or like shooting up heroin or something like some of these fools I know. I'm like in my family, but yeah, I'm like, I think that there is like a line of like, if you got addicts in your family, any type, you're going to probably have some sort of like addictive personalities as well. Like, I'm like, even if it's not drugs or anything like that, I'm like caffeine,
anger,
video games.
Yeah.
I'm like, you could be addicted to video games.
The
like
anger
things like
hits
that.
harder, yeah. Well, that's not a good one, but yeah, I think like the weed stuff's not bad, but like when I was growing up, they made it sound so bad. So I mean, that's just them projecting, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my mom and my dad, like my dad even now, like he every once in a while I think he'll like smoke weed or do something dumb like that, and he gets drunk pretty easily. But like my mom,
why does everybody's dad get so drunk easy? Like my stepdad was the same way.
Like this old man stuff.
I guess. My stepdad used to be the same way.
And that's what I was like, I don't know. And my mom like never really drank or did anything like that or smoked weed until she got older. So that's was like
I think when I first met your mom, she was like wasn't.
Yeah, that's what it was like. That's what it was like. My dad doesn't smoke weed. I was like, my mom does it like occasionally now. Yeah, I'm like my grandma, my grandparents on my dad's side definitely don't do. I mean, they'll drink sometime. My grandma, she gets to be a little bit of an angry.
So
drunk.
basically, they're like, "Hey, you guys can come over and drink and drive and stuff, but if you smoke weed, you're dead to us." Basically, that's how a lot of families are.
Yeah, kind of like the Latina Hispanic shit where I'm like, you could hella drink and maybe even do a little bit of coke at 2 a.m. with like the uncles and stuff, but you definitely cannot smoke weed in front of them.
Or you're the devil.
Yeah, you're the devil.
That's so. We actually had a part of a podcast. I don't know if you remember it, Dustin, but you remember you had to cut that because it just didn't fit. Remember when I was talking about Latino and Latina families were like, well, you can do it. You can do coke, drink, fucking stay up till 6 a.m. partying. But if you do weed, bro, they're like, you motherfucker, like they're hella angry and it's hella funny to them.
Yeah, like when I first started dating my son's dad, we went to a family get together thing for like my dad's side of the family. I forgot what it was, a birthday party or something dumb like that, and me and him, we're smoking weed before we get there. We're in the car, we're smoking. And so we must have smelled like it or probably looked stoned anyways. Probably looked hella stoned. And so I guess one of my cousins decided that he was going to pull him aside and talk to him about how that's not okay to be doing. I was like, dude, you literally look like a freaking cholo and you're going to sit here and say something about that. Like, I'm like, fool, you're probably high right now. What the hell are you talking about? I'm like...
I wish somebody would pull me aside and be like, hey, bro, I don't think that's cool.
And the thing was, too, that I didn't even know what they were doing. So I was like, dude, if I would have known that was happening, I definitely wouldn't let that, like, fly. I was like, that's not... Slide. Yeah, I was like, what are you doing? I was like, I remember telling my dad, I was like, come on, like, that is so stupid. Like, I was like, you guys need to mind your own damn business.
I'm
like,
super protective of you guys. And when I say you guys, I mean, like, you, my brother, like, just family in general. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I would never fucking let anybody talk to you. If I was in that area where someone was talking to you guys at that, I'd be like, nah, bro, we're good, dude. We can smoke right now if you want. Like, if that's what you want to do.
Like, you just mad because I didn't bring you any, or
that's
what?
why. But because we're kind of running out of time. But that's we'll leave off on this. That's why I love you guys as family, like you, Justin, and Kylie, and everybody. Because I don't have to like hide around you or Justin and Kylie and them.
Yeah, I think I've gotten to this point in my age where I'm like, I'm about to be 30 in like a year or so. Where I'm like, I don't give a shit if if I'm smoking weed or not. If I'm like, literally, if you can't tell that I'm like not smoking weed, then I don't know what's wrong with you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, I don't feel like ashamed bringing alcohol to like family events.
I'm not going to be like blowing like weed smoking babies' faces at like the family like reunion or like pulling out and like rolling a blunt like straight up there. But if I want to smoke before or after or even like talk about it with my cousins or go on a walk, why not? Thanksgiving walk,
the last time I went to Justin's house, Justin, I don't know if you remember that, but I was like, hey, I'm about to go take a walk real quick because Emily wants to smoke. Like, I don't want to smoke in your house or out on your porch.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I'll just take a walk. Yeah.
That's what I would do when I would go visit my dad. Like, that's what I'm like, even my dad at some point, like, he knew that, like, he didn't like it, but he knew that I did it. And I'd be like, okay, like, can you watch Ezra? Because I'm going to go on a walk, like, around the corner. Like, and he's like, oh, what are you going to do? Go smoke some weed? And I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I was like, I'm going to be back in a minute. That's what I'm telling you. Like, come on, old man. You don't get it? Like,
you don't get it, bro? No, like, there's not really any judge. That's why, like, I'm cool with the family we have now. Like, I feel like I don't judge you. I don't feel like I judge. Justin doesn't judge me. Like, yeah, bro, we smoke, we drink sometimes.
He looks pretty judgy over there.
I mean, he doesn't know that I did Molly the other night, and that felt hella good, bro.
Look at the judgment in his face now.
My pupils were fucking super duper dilated, bro. Yeah, dude. But like, I don't know.
You're staring at that baby Yoda. You're like, your pupils are as big as mine right now, bro.
It was amazing, dude. And by the way, Emily had brought up that like if they use Molly sometimes for like couples therapy.
Oh yeah,
she had brought that up while we were like in the middle of our
the middle of doing stuff,
the trip, and I was like, bro, I can see why, because like you're super happy and like loving and like you just appreciate everything.
Like you're super hot right now,
you're
bro.
hella fine, bro. No, but yeah,
you're like dead ass though, bro.
Hey, come here, yeah. I enjoyed this episode. Like I said to you guys earlier in the beginning, and maybe I didn't, so I don't care, but Nah, I do care, but this was supposed to be a pilot episode for something I want to do going forward. I kind of want to change things up on the channel.
I'll just be the new frenemies. I'll come by in a Halloween costume next week.
We could if you want. We don't have to do every week, by the way, if you don't want to. But if you guys liked Lauren and me and like want to see more, because like I know me and you, we kind of argue about stuff sometimes too. Yeah, so I promise you, this isn't gonna be like me and Lauren agreeing on everything. Like there is probably gonna be stuff that like me and Lauren don't agree on, dude. So, you know, if you guys are seeing this link because I tagged Lauren in it, or there's probably gonna be people that you know who watch us, right? I'm assuming.
Probably.
And I kind of want to start doing something to like hook this family up, and by that I mean like. Money? I don't want, basic. No, true. I kind of just, I don't want your,
up, bruh.
I kind of don't want your mom to, and your mom and dad and them to be the only people like making money. Like I kind of want me, you and Emily and like Justin and Sebastian and us to start moving forward with our own stuff.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we're about to be
30.
Real adults.
Yeah.
Be real adults and be 30 soon.
I kind of want to like hand something down to the kids, and I want the Avery, Noah, Elijah, Ezra, and all them
your
to like
future big-headed child that will.
Yeah. Well, me and Emily's kid is gonna have a huge fucking head. Let's be real. It's gonna have a huge.
That's what
head.
I mean. That big ass dome.
And it's probably gonna be super angry and super emo.
Super white.
Yeah, super white and hungry all the time, and. I'm gonna like hate us, and I don't know what to tell you, bro. My kid's head is huge, bro. But but I want to pass them down something, and this is something that I like. Why we do this all the time, like talk. Yeah. Why not put it out into a space where you can make money off it and like do something?
I think we should try to get Emily in here too.
I know I would love to, but she's like, I don't like to hear my voice, but you do when you're yelling at me. You know what I mean? So yeah, when you're telling me to clean, you like hearing your voice, but you don't like talking. You know, but. Did you have anything to say to anybody, or just any shout outs before we end tonight's episode? Anybody you want to say, like, I love you too? Like, I know you just said you and your fucking baby daddy are talking again. I don't know. That's what you said.
No, not talking like that, fool. Oh. That's what it's like, getting along on good terms, I guess I should have said.
Yeah. We talked about your mom a lot, so shout out to you, Shannon. You know what I mean?
Love you, mom. And then I don't know. My brother, Sebastian, love him.
Okay, before we go, I gotta go in, and then we can literally end this. But out of the 69 high schools in Bakersfield, which one did you go to?
I went to Bakersfield High School, BHS.
Out of the 69 high schools, you went to the one that was just BHS?
Yes, Bakersfield High School.
Because there is that many schools there, Lauren. That's just fucking insane.
High schools now?
Well, me and us looked it up on our first episode ever. That was like one of the first topics we ever talked about. And like Bakersfield has 69 high schools. You
should have asked me about it. We'll talk about it next time. Apparently it's haunted and there's like a bunch of like weird stuff. And my first day there was a riot. Or second day there was a riot between a bunch of black kids and a bunch of Mexican kids.
Yeah, I think every high school has like the blacks versus Mexicans.
But it was my second day there and I was like, what's going on? They like literally locked all the kids in the building and stuff. Yeah. It was pretty bad. But
it's getting bad out there, guys. Like, you gotta run.
I'm scared, Mom. Can you come pick me up?
Bro, like I dead ass like.
No, but BHS, woo woo, drillers.
So
woo!
You went to like the most basic named one out of the 69. I would think that's the most basic named one out of the 69.
It's the oldest one there. You're just jealous.
I mean, I went to a high school that was named after a mountain, so mine's not that good.
I want to go to ugly Stockdale? I'm like, ugh. I did.
The Stockdale boys.
The Stockdale Mustangs went there for
about
a half a year.
Hey, babe, you want to get in my car, babe? It's like the car doesn't even work. I guarantee you it didn't even work. But yeah, thank you for coming on, Lauren.
Yeah.
Until next time, guys. Peace.